Hello everybody, welcome in, welcome in. The information in FS25, which I'm so excited about. I was not expecting this. This was very, very unexpected. I didn't think we would hear anything before Saturday, before FarmCon. They did release 3 trailers. Dargawen and a lot of the other partners got the actual MP4 file early, so they can then release their reactions as soon as it kind of comes out. That's how I'm going to be going through Dargawen's video. First thing, this lighting system, I am in love with. I love these rays coming through the trees. I think that looks so cool because it's also really realistic. It's August and it's 20 to 5, which, to be fair, for where I'm from at this time in August, it would not be like this. That to me is kind of like very early morning, late evening, and like early, so like maybe more September, October time. But still, I love this lighting. Here the grass doesn't look as good as it does in another clip. Like there's a lot of variety in the crop, which is really interesting to see. This next bit I got so excited for. We can grow our own rice saplings. I'm like, oh my god, this is such a cool mechanic because you can literally have a greenhouse and grow the rice saplings. Quite expensive to start with because you obviously have to buy the greenhouse, but then I don't ever have to buy for saplings again. All I need to do is fill it with water. Also, another thing to point out, these menus down here seem to be they seem to be the exact same, just this here bit with the exclamation marks. It's the only bit that seems to be different in the different colours. Everything else is the exact same. This UI up here, I love it. I really like this. I think this here is just a nice mix of being dark but light, so you can still clearly see the text, but also still see what's going on around you. Meant more of the production chains, and I just love more use for the production chains. And also, what I love is the greenhouses in 22. If you fill the water to max, you can just leave it for a long period of time and not have to look at it, and literally then just sell crop. Like, it has no proper function to it, bar that. Literally, fill it with water, get a crop. I love how this here, the pallets, I think the pallets look the exact same. Like this here look the exact same as 22. Well, or not, that's maybe just because that's used as a filler at the minute, or that is, you know, I guess that's the final thing, but to be fair, it's a palette. There's not much you're going to be able to change at the end of the day. But I loved how this has like the defects in it, so it looks like they literally will reuse them, which I think is quite cool. Like how they have that, because they could have had these be perfectly clean, solid matte finish, but they've had it so it looks like it's actually been worn down. Also, it's not just a normal greenhouse, it's the plastic ones, it's not a glass one, which I hope there's more. I hope we get, like, you know, maybe the lettuce ones and strawberry ones with that as well. I think that'll be cool. The reflection in this water, look at the reflections in that water. That is so cool. Now this is the Izeki Prim PRJ8D. This, I love the detail in this. Finally shows you what the name of it. So I love how they've added it above the speedometer instead of here. To me, it's like nice and compact down there, because I'd rather things be this as that. I love how this RPMs is. I think that looks really cool with the wee block between each one. Cruise control and then the R's in the vehicle. Next, of course, I think that blue bar is service of the vehicle, and the orange one is clearly diesel. GPS. We have GPS in FS22. 25, which I am so excited about. I feel like we've been asking for GPS for literally since like 2000. Since like one of the first games. I feel like GPS, like, when we getting GPS? When we getting GPS? When we getting GPS? We finally have GPS now. But one thing I'll be interested to find out is whether or not you have to buy it as an add-on to the vehicle, because I feel like that will add a really good challenge. Because let me tell you, in real life, GPS is not cheap. To get GPS in a tractor, some of them is like 25,000. It is expensive, so I would like that, and it's only on like certain vehicles. So any of the older vehicles don't have it. I want it to be like, you know, like this here. Like, I think that's clearly maybe the GPS dome for this. And I also love how the gears here are, you can see all of them, and it's not like in 22 where it's like you can only see drive if you're in drive, you can see reverse if you're in reverse. Again, I love the animation of loading this with the seeder. I think it's really cool how literally you can see it going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then start loading up here. Like, I think that's a really cool. Also, but I'm like, it loads it all up, and then this last bit, it just loads it once when the palette empties. Which I'm like, well, were you able to animate the first half? The water effect. Now, we'll get into more about the water effect in a minute, because it does get very interesting. But I love how that water pump just comes out. I think that's really cool. I didn't see this my first watch through. had to be pointed out to me. There. We have ripples in the water. This is, I'm actually, like, whenever it was pointed out, I went, how did I miss this? And I think so many other people missed it as well. Like, it's just something that nobody pays attention to. But the way the water ripples is so cool. And I really, really hope that it's not just in this water, and it's water all over the map. So say if you were to, like, go into a river, the water would ripple out. I think if they managed to do that, that would be so, so good. Though it doesn't just disperse instantly, it literally nearly goes across the entire patty. Like, the way it disperses out across that is so cool. Animation of this grass. I am obsessed with this grass because it looks FS22. That's my biggest problem. It literally is one level, and grass does not grow at one level. Grass grows at all different heights. Grass is like people. Every strand of grass is individual. I just love how dense the grass looks, because it does look like a nice, thick, lush crop, all different heights, and how thick it looks. It's a dense crop of grass. I wonder if there's a way that they've done it that, say if maybe you didn't fertilise it all and you didn't do everything to get a high yield, and maybe there's been weather that's affected it, the crop will look less dense. I think if they managed, that would be something that'd be really good. So it's like, without even having to walk over the field, you can kind of tell if it's a high yield or low yield based on how dense it looks. If it's quite like a more sparse crop that has a lower yield, then it won't be as dense. But if it's a high max yielding crop, it'll be max density. I don't think that'll be included. I think that is reaching a bit, but I think that is something that would have been really cool. The way the animation in this cedar, the way it goes back and forth and then drops down. Again, Giants have done an amazing job in the animation of that. The fog in the distance, I think, looks really, really good. Like, I think that looks really nice. But we'll see more of the fog later on in the video. So this is what it looks like once it's grown. So this is regular rice, because there is two types of rice, but this is the regular one. I think it looks like it looks really, really good. Like, I think the texture, although this looks very flat. I don't know if that's maybe how it is actually. It is quite, like, it looks, but it does to me. That bit there, just the bits that hang out the edge, looks very flat. And also, again, like, you can just see how lush this grass is, which I think looks like you can see here how maybe, like, you know, this is grass that's been driven over a lot, so it's a lot shorter. Whereas the grass here isn't being driven over as much, and look how thick and lush it is. You can just about see the grass is like moving with the person's feet. For some reason, the field info said soybeans when he was looking at the field. I was like, that's weird. I don't know if this said, I don't know if this is like this in 2022. I don't think it is, but the weeds say partial. I'm pretty sure we just have small, medium, and large. I think that's the only weeds we have, but it seems to now be in weed partial. So unless that means, you know, only part of the field will have weeds, and then if, like, weeds, whatever, I don't know. That was the little detail I saw, and again, everything else was just normal, fertilized, yield bonus, etc. And I can't remember. I think those lines are new to its value, which I really like, because I really struggle to read things like that without the lines. So this is the Izeki Japan 6130. So this is the rice harvester. This is used for harvesting the rice that's the regular rice. We'll get on to we do go on to the next rice in a minute, but I think this is such like a cool wee machine. Although, I have an issue with these specialised machines, because in my head I'm like, okay, grape and olive harvesters, I never use them. Potato harvesters, I despise them. Beetroot harvesters, I despise them. Or beetroot, sugar beet. The new one for the car seat, I despise those machines, because they're like tiny sugarcane harvesters, or that same name. I just do not like them, because I don't like how small they are. I just don't like that, because they're so expensive, and literally, unless you're doing only that crop, they're not worth the price for it. Whereas this, I don't know how much it is. I was then going, that looks very, very similar to how they have the grape harvester. I feel like it's just kind of using that kind of same animation, just slightly tweaked, because ultimately they don't need to reinvent the wheel. Like, when it comes to game development, like, I feel like reusing things like that and just slightly tweaking it, perfect. Put the focus somewhere else, where it kind of drips into the ground. Some people noticed this. I don't know if it was this one, but somebody did point it out. If you look, no, I don't think it does it in this one, maybe because it's tracked. There was a clip where I think you can kind of see the harvester bounce. I think it's the other clip. This looks really easy to harvest because again, it's like back to what I was saying about the trigger boxes. This looks like just really like easy to get a nice clean line in. Maybe I might be stretching there, but which makes me then really want to use it more. This one here is very much how it's done in Asia and how that part of the world does it. America, they always have to go bigger. So in America, they do this. This is called long rice, and I think they put mixed straw out of this. I don't know, I'm not 100% sure on this. Oh, you can! At least from what I found here. I think that will also be another bonus for this long rice, is if you're able to have straw as a byproduct as well, because obviously then you get more money for it. The header auto adjusts with the ground, so it doesn't, because like if you look whenever it's going over this bump, look, it goes up, and then it goes down. But it looks like there's I don't think it's actually 3D ground, or it's like a proper like weight bumpy ground, but there does need to be like a little dirt effect that looks like the tires going into the ground. But again, long rice, and this CR11 has a 15.7 meter header, so I say in the game it'll be 16 meters. So it's a big combine, and also this is the gold. This isn't the gold version, but this one will have the gold version if you buy off Giant's website or off Collector's Edition. So lovely big header. Also the stubble. I just love how the stubble looks because it looks very real. I love how the crop falls into the header. It doesn't look. I feel like sometimes in 22 it can look very much like definitely. You can tell it's like, okay, this is the crop, this crop disappears, and then it's an animation plays. Whereas this seems to have blended a lot more. I like that. Actually looks really nice the way the dust is coming out and up. Because also dust is like quite warm, so it will rise. That does look really nice. And the way it has the effect in the camera, it would be like what you would imagine if you were getting dust blown in your face. I just love how this here, you can very clearly see how blended it is between the crop actually disappearing. Like it does look like it's getting pulled down in and then brought to the center, which again is just really nice to see. Like it just doesn't disappear. So I think that's all we actually had from gameplay. Also, you can see over here another crop that's just very dense looking. When I saw this, I went, oh my god, that looks like FS17, which in my opinion is not a bad thing. For me, a farm sim game that looks like 17 is not a bad thing, because 17's color grading was amazing. I loved the color grading in it, whereas 17 was very dark. Like everything, like the color was sorted out of everything. 19 they went the opposite, and then they put the saturation went through the roof. Like everything was so bright and so vibrant and so colorful. And then 22 they really did bring it back down a bit, but I feel this is definitely way down more. But however, they've brought it down so the actual environment looks darker. But like look at the machine, like that red is so vibrant, the greens are vibrant. It looks a lot cooler, because that was one thing with 19 and 22 a bit as well. They were very warm colours, they were very warm, very reds, very oranges. Whereas this, you can definitely tell is a bit more of a blue tinge. It's a lot cooler, which is actually I think is a lot more relaxing on the eyes. Again, how thick and how lush everything looks. Like this grass, it actually looks like it's living, healthy grass. Again, this is the shop, so this is where you get your machine. So this is the American map, and everything is all located around this one wee area. Like everything's all together, and then the fields will be out around it, which I love. I really like that, how everything's a central location, and then you have so much space to farm. But then what I also love is, because this one thing, in America, you know, you think you've got your Route 66, you've got these big, long, massive roads that just span across the country in America. This map features one of those big, long roads. And I think, if I mind right, the guy said about how it literally does have one mass. I think there'll be more roads, but there is a big road that just stretches the length of it, which I think is actually a really, really cool way of like having like a very nice central point for the map that you can then go out from. And then it will give like, you know, you have the central bit that's like, you know, there'll be cars, buildings, things around it, and then you go to the other end of the map and it will be you know, a lot smaller, a lot more calming, because you're just surrounded by forest and fields. So this is the animal dealer, and one thing, obviously this is not, you might actually be able to go in. Oh, I didn't notice this. That looks like you can maybe go into the shop. Like that looks modelled inside, whereas this, like if you look in comparison to this, I think they've done a really good job on this. The interior of this actually looks really cool. So this I think is modelled. This one, however, is, you can clearly tell you can't go inside it. but the way as you go by, it like turns. Like, so if you look at it from depth, so it looks like it's more depth to it. I am obsessed with this, about how you can quite literally see the animals. So this, first thing I want to point out about this, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 different breed of sheep. It's really hard to tell, and I can't tell if this looks like it's actually been, it's like actually like bumpy 3D, or if it is just like a flat texture that's been made to look that way. It's hard to tell. So this is this big massive long straight road that giants were talking about. This looks amazing. Like, words, I literally saw this and I actually had to pick my jaw up off the floor. I don't know how people can look at this shot. This was the shot here. I was like, okay, wow. How can you look at this and go, this is the same as FS25? Fog in the distance below the trees. How lush and thick the trees are. How thick the grass verge is. These trees in the background actually looks like a big dense forest. And then you think it can't get any better. You see all this, how amazing. The way the shadows look, the way the light comes in through the trees. And then you look at the bonnet of the tractor and you can see, like, see that bit there? That telegraph pole. In 19, they put in that water tanker that was meant to be like fully metallic and reflective. It literally had a flat image on it. When I tell you we were let down by that trailer. I want to see that trailer in FS25 whenever I can actually look at the back of it and I can see what is behind me. I love this, like the god rays coming through the trees as you drive and how it's so dynamic. And again, it's like once you notice those in the bonnet, you cannot miss them. And I was then looking back through some of the original photos. We knew we had this feature because I'll actually pull it up in a minute once we finish this video. Again, this here, look at that in the road. You can see the reflection of the road and it looks so cool. Low fog in the distance. Gorgeous, gorgeous. You can see the shadow of the clouds here. I'm pretty sure that's what this is, like, because you can see it slowly kind of moving. But this is the shadow from the clouds, which is so nice to have. There's the sounds. It sounds so good. Like when it goes down the hill, it goes like there's a whistle of like the end of like the transmission. Love, because they do film the real machines and to see what they sound like. Is literally just them showing off like the god rays and the fog, which honestly looks so nice. Like, I definitely think this game is going to be the photo opportunities in this. There's sometimes I have seen photos in FS22 and I have to go, okay, is this real life? With this, it's going to be so hard to tell. This shot, I actually, like, if it wasn't for this big massive watermark, I want this as my wallpaper on my computer. Because the way, oh my god, that tree just reminded me of something. If you ever played Lone Oak, Lone Oak's my favourite map, and there's basically outside of the farm there's a massive hill with one tree on it, and that's obviously the Lone Oak. That's what this just reminded me of, because the thick density of the tree, the bushes around it, and just the way the light comes through those leaves. Like, I don't think people see this, and because like, I like paused this. Look how quick of a clip this is. 30 seconds. The shot lasts 7 seconds. And I don't think people are actually taking the time to appreciate. Lighting is one of the hardest things in game design to do. One of the hardest things you can do in game design is lighting. Because in games, nothing's real. Nothing wants to bounce. Nothing wants to reflect. You have to program that. It's not like I take a torch and I flash it onto this and it produces a shadow. Because the light hits this. In a game, this is not real. Light will pass through this. This is so hard to do. One thing Giants made sure to keep pointing out was, it's not ray tracing, it's all god rays. Because that's what they kept saying. It goes, no, this is not to be confused with ray tracing. This one photo is beautiful. And again, you can see the variation in the density of the grass. That's just in nature. And you can see a couple of things in the back. I think that's maybe a bridge in the background there. And also the height of the trees and how like it looks like you're actually looking back into like a deep, far foresty mountain area, and you're not just looking at a plain flat image. Look at the way the camera moves and the light bends around the tree. Again, another one, the way the light bends around that tree as you move the camera. Another thing I needed to point out in this, I have tried to find replicate trees on this multiple times. I cannot find a tree that looks the same. Like, how many trees? There's so many trees in this shot. Not a single tree looks the same. This looks similar to this, and that there looks similar, but they've made it so it looks different. They could be the exact same model, but the way they have positioned everything and the way they've done it, it looks like it's all different trees, which is so good. Whereas in Farm Sim 22, you go into an area and it's like American Elm. It is that exact same tree everywhere. They'll have the exact knot in the same position. They will have the exact wee ridge in the same position. But these look so... And then you get onto this. You think, but how can it get better? And it gets better. Look at this. I hate driving at night on Farm Sim. If I can drive at night like this, I'm like, oh my god, I actually can't wait to take screenshots now. And I'm like, that's going into my tablet, that's going to my computer, that's going to my laptop, that's going to my phone. Because look at like the lights actually react with the environment. It's not just like, because I think this in Farm in 22, it literally is just this part. Like it literally will just be like, it doesn't even sometimes look like the lights are coming out of the lights. It just kind of spawns around the tractor. Whereas this, it actually is interacting with the air. The way the cone comes down, and then the way the lights actually beam out, amazing. And also how like these are like white lights, so they it's white, and then these lights here, I'm nearly lost for words. Like it's actually incredible. And then also the reflect of the moon, like that looks so good. Just that shot, like it's not even the shot of the moon. It is quite literally just the night sky, and it's just the moon reflecting. But also, you probably can't see because it's kind of blurred, but these are actually stars. I can kind of see it on mine. Again, my quality is not great either, but it has been confirmed that these stars in the night sky, which I love, because FS22, why at night is it pitch dark? Because ultimately at night it does not get pitch dark, because like, the stars light it up and the moon lights it up. It's never pitch dark. So this is incredible. Like you can tell by how like this is quite late at night, but how I actually still light it is this shot here. Like, but the way it reflects onto the building, but then also this street lamp literally perfectly illuminates around it, but then outside it's dark. Gorgeous. I literally was like this the entire time, like this. Then there's this morning dew. Gorgeous. Like the way it's like not everything, it's only up to a certain level, because ultimately fog, like if you go high enough you're over the top of the fog. But if you're in third person, you'll be able to see that, where it's like, okay, this is the fog and then this is not fog. But if you're like in first person in a tractor, that would be like, and you can only see so far. I don't know what crop this is down here, but it looks good. Like look how dense, and look at the weeds as well. Like the weeds look so good here as well. And again, the trees really, like I think those are the two exact same trees, but they don't look it. Even here, like, that doesn't, like, you can tell there's been a couple of repeats, because obviously there's going to be repeats because that's just the way the game's programmed. But also there's just the same type of flower, and they look like there's a slight difference in them. This silo, the detailing and the texturing of this silo, like it looks like this silo is like a real proper silo that's been there for decades. Like the texturing on the wall, like how it's kind of all gone grey and musky now. I actually was sitting and look at this. The texture of this looks really, like I don't think it is 3D. I really don't think it is 3D, but it looks so much more 3D than what we currently have. And again, like I can imagine like this, I think it's going to be so much easier to see. I haven't seen cultivated texture, but if this is what the so texture looks like, I think it'll be so much easier to distinguish between the two. Here as well, the way the water ripples and just the general wave of it, and the way the light kind of comes out from around this, like it just kind of glows, and then that way that reflects, and also the reflection into this river. Like look how it like actually bends and warps the reflection as the water moves. Look at the reflection of those trees there. I actually am like lost for words. Again, like another maybe a road bridge over there. The way the light just bends and appears through the trees looks so surrealistic. This is the cloud's reflection onto the fields, which look how good that looks. I know like people, I've seen someone say about how, oh, but whenever you're in your cab, you're never going to see that. And I'm like, well, yeah, you're not. But also sometimes you kind of will, because it's like, you can see the reflection of the clouds kind of if you're looking at the ground. And if you're in third person view, it gives the third person view so much more dynamic to it. I think that'd be really cool to see go across, like just go across the surface of your fields. Lovely. I bet you this map's only playable to about there. Everything else around this is literally just detailing in the background. And I also love this, not the shape, the how the fields are like on a hill, but they're not that. They're like that. It's really hard to explain, but I think there's a nice like, they're nicely gradiented down, so you're not just on a steep incline. Okay, then this is up through one of the hills, and look at these trees. Like, this seems just, I could just hear, I don't think there was any sound with it, but I can just hear the nature. This looks 3D. And my head is like, actually it's hurting my head trying to figure out. That I think is a flat texture, but look how 3D it is. Now obviously I can tell. Here, you can tell they've obviously spliced the texture onto that and it doesn't match up. And again, I think, you know, I've kind of put now the idea of mud and stuff like that to the side. There's like little tiny insects. Look, or maybe it's like pollen or something. Also, so Daggerman I think said he thinks this might be spinach. Clutch said it might be oilseed radish, which it actually does. But look at the detail in the leaves. You can quite literally see the vein in the leaves. I don't think any crop we've ever had that much detail in it. And even though it's planted in the rows, although this did worry me, it's planted this direction. So I don't think the ground is like, where it's like, if you go this way, it will plant this way. I think it's going to be a case of if you plant this way, it will grow that way. I think. But still, like, it looks way more like, it doesn't look like it's planted in neat rows. It looks way more lush. So again, and they didn't go up the watchtower, but I need to check. I think that's the exact same watchtower that's in, it looks the exact same as the Elm Creek. It looks the exact same one that was in the Elm Creek at the maze. But that's okay, like, I don't mind them having to reuse models like that, like, because it's a good model of it. But they didn't go up, but it's like, you can do that yourselves. So I'm like, I really like how they're showing us so much, but yet nothing at the same time. Again, the way the light just bends around these branches. You know, you can tell, like, this bit here, you can tell it's the same texture, but you can't tell it's the same texture, which is when you're doing gaming, when you're doing game design, it's one of the hardest things to have textures and not make them look like you've literally gone copy paste, copy paste, copy paste. The longest time Minecraft did that issue. If you looked at a grass block, it was the exact same pixels every single block. Then what they kind of was, they went, okay, well if we rotate this, so every other block was kind of rotated, it looked a wee bit better. And then I think they then just improved, I think it was like a more like a randomized approach. But this is so good because you can obviously tell that they're not going to have 100 different textures. They're not going to have 100 different textures for the same crop. They'll have one, they will rotate it. They might slightly change it, but they'll rotate it and change the height of things and stuff like that, which is really good. Because if you look here, like, look at the way like this is a big lush patch here, and then this bit's quite like bland. And the stubble as well. The different heights of the stubble and the different types of stubble, also really nice looking. But and again, you can see, and it's like how varied it is. You can tell it's the exact same bit of stubble. Like that is the same bit of stubble. They're all the same bit of stubble, but they look so different. Like they look so drastically different that I don't mind that you don't mind it's the same. And okay, yeah, maybe these look a bit flat. If it's a lush field, we're not worried about what it looks like that way. We're worried about what it looks like as a collective. I know a lot of you might not be farmers. If you walk through a wheat field, it literally, you're like dragging your legs to try and separate the barley to get through it, because they grow and they interweave. Then we get onto this. This is the water bit. Again, I said it every time, these god rays, beautiful. And then also the barge, how gorgeous the light is. Look at the ripples behind the camera. So clearly the characters make ripples in the water too, not just the planters. Okay, the boat isn't moving there. Apple water. This, okay, I love this. This was so cool, the way the water, you can tell it kind of clips in that sometimes, but this looks really cool. So back to this, like this stream here, again, looks really good. And light bending, I've said it like 20 million times already, just everything looks so good. This water ripples, like our water in 22 does not do this. Like it doesn't ripple like this. Like it looks like there's actual motion and things now, which I love. We knew we got reflections in machinery from this photo here, because for some reason nobody that I know of picked up on this. You can see the live reflection of the cab, and I literally would have had to go back and look at the photos, and I went, they literally showed us this, but I see nobody talking about it.